What's up, everyone? Lincoln Shrike here, joined by Olivia Ekpone, Kevin Sully. The 2019 NCAA Championships, as they say, are in the books. We're about the only people left besides some staff here. But what we wanted to do with this one is just go through and pick MVPs on the men's and the women's side, just fresh, with the meat fresh in our minds. Kevin, you want to go first?
Sure. Let's start with the men. Grant Holloway, 1298.
Yeah.
In the 110 hurdles. A lot of pressure, and he said this one meant the most to him of his 6 hurdle titles.
Yeah.
And it's because he had to do the most in order to get it. Got the victory over Daniel Roberts, the biggest competitor he's had throughout his career at Florida. Broke a 40-year-old. How many of you guys watching are 40 years old? No, stop lying. Not that many of you are. To do it, I mean, it was just a sensational performance. You throw in the collegiate record in the 4x1 and the 43.75 split in the 4x4, where he just streaked down that last stretch. And the last 100 meters of his collegiate career was sensational to watch. For the men, I'm going with Grant Holloway.
That's a good pick.
That's a great pick.
It was a cool anecdote to hear that Grant and Daniel Roberts were on texting terms like before the meet, saying that they, whatever happens, it stays on the track. We're good friends. So it will be a rivalry going forward. It probably will not be Lyles Coleman-esque.
Yes.
It'll be a little more friendly going forward. But that level of rivalry coming forward is exciting.
That's
All
awesome.
right. You want to do your women's pick?
No, I want to do
Everyone's men's pick.
Everyone do the women's.
Olivia, take it.
All right, I'm going with Divine Ordaduru. This man has been on fire since indoor season. As we moved into the NCAA Outdoor Championship, he ran the second leg of the 4x1, which placed 3rd. Kind of helped get the mojo going for the meet. He also did the double, the 100 and the 200. He ran a legal time of a 9.86, came back, ran the 200, 19.73. One of the greatest doubles we've seen to help the Texas Raiders bring home back to Lubbock the first NCAA Outdoor Championship title. So Divine Ordaduru is my MVP for the men.
Yeah, that 200, it tells you how good he's going right now, that we were kind of all surprised that he didn't break the collegiate record, but only 4 100s off. And yeah, that 100 was incredible. And he won up that April double that everyone was like, what in the heck was going on?
Yeah, my question with him has always been, can he back it up? Can he go under 10 again? And now can he go under 20 again? Not only can he go under 20, he's dropping times way below it. You mentioned Texas Tech's team title. First men's championship in Texas Tech history in any sport. Is that correct, Lincoln?
That's what Wes Kitley said, and their men just made it in the basketball finals in March, but or in April, I should say. But Wes Kitley gets it done, gets some redemption after indoors basically hit the fan. They were terrible indoors, but then they were really, really excellent with Divine leading the way, and they had a bunch of people in final. They had people everywhere essentially. They won with numbers, but also star power with Divine. So I'll go to my men's MVP. Didn't have necessarily the finishing time we're gonna remember forever, but what a career for Morgan McDonald. And he does it with a 52.91, I believe, closer, just that world class. It's gone from the best college kicker now to Morgan McDonald is suddenly close-ish to maybe one of the better kickers in the entire world, at least for 5K, that range. We'll wait to see him on that upper level, but gets another victory over Grant Fisher. That's 4 now since dating back to last November. The guy ends his career with just an unbeatable reign over the distance. It wasn't a long-winded one in the form of Edward Cheserek, but it was certainly spectacular while it lasted. He's looking good going onto the rest of his career.
There's been a lot of talk on the internet about how this meet's basically a Diamond League meet, right?
No,
and with the new IAAF World Rankings, it's like, well, how many points are you getting? And there's this whole idea of the IAAF doesn't respect the NCAA meet. And usually that applies to distance, right? Because we're looking at these marks that are top in the world in sprints. But someone like Morgan McDonald with a 13:15 5,000 meter personal best and the ability to close in 52. Now I know he didn't do that in a 13:15 race. He did that in a much slower race. But he's a guy who you could plug right in there, and I think with a little bit of seasoning is going to be among the best in the world. So it's not just the sprints where we have just like top talent at this meet. So good pick by you there, Lincoln. And you rep for the distances there.
I did. I mean, I feel compelled. I've been riding on the distances last couple nights, while the sprints have certainly probably stolen the show, let's be honest here, with some of the crazy times. With that segue, let's go to the women's side. Kevin, who was your women's MVP?
Yeah, I will go, well, there were so many to choose from. I'll go with Janique Brown, Arkansas. She led the way, just like Divine Ordaduru did for the men to the team title for Texas Tech. Janique Brown was the Divine Ordaduru of Arkansas women. Let's go with that. That works. That sounds good. 12:40 in the 100 hurdles. 12:40, number 2 in NCAA history. world lead right now. She also came back and run a sensational 2. She was on the 4x1, did a little bit of everything, but I mean, Chanel Brissett of USC PR'd by 0.18. This is the 60-meter indoor hurdle champ. PR'd in the 100 hurdles by 0.18 and still lost by a considerable margin. Janique Brown, one of the best hurdlers in the world. I think we're going to see her in Doha in a very long time because the World Championships are so far away, but I think we're going to see Janique Brown on that start line.
She's got
for the World
Jamaican
Championship final.
Yeah, she's got Jamaican trials coming up soon. She
Yeah.
said that. And I asked her what she thought about her time, and she said, "What do you think about that time?"
And what did you say?
I just blew me back off the track. It just was like, whoa. I didn't
Lincoln
know
had a
that.
very interesting relationship with athletes this weekend.
Just
Yes.
hostile
And-
in some senses, comical in others, awkward throughout the whole thing. So
It really spanned the gamut.
Yeah.
Was interviewed by Japanese television.
Yeah.
Grant
It's a good
Holloway
weekend for me.
told him to eat his words, or maybe he told somebody else.
Somebody,
but he yelled
yeah.
it in Lincoln's general direction. Lincoln also asked, "When did you blow it?" to a couple people in the mix zone, which was an interesting touch.
Hey, well, yeah, we'll see how I come out when the winners or losers of the mix zone does appear on some publication. But Olivia, you've got I would say
Speedster.
maybe the MVP of the meet.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
I went with Shakara Richardson of LSU, this freshman. We've been talking about her throughout the course of our show, but she honestly just, my mouth was dropped after I saw the 10.75 up on the big jumbo screen. I was like, is it legal? Crossing our fingers, we've been talking about like the Texas weather. We never know if we're gonna have legal winds. It's legal right now, which is great.
pretty slow.
1.6, 10.75, my mouth was just dropped. I was speechless after, and she came back, ran the 200 as well, ran a 22:17, got second behind Angie Anellis from USC. Very close race. She was catching up toward the end and just wasn't enough for her to clinch that title, but she helped the LSU Tigers to a 3rd place finish, overall team title, so great job for Shakara Richardson.
as far as context, where those rank historically, 1075 collegiate record breaks Don Souls' collegiate record
Yes.
from eons ago. I think that was
30
back
years.
in the
1989.
before I was born, before you were born. Kevin
I was
was
born.
in fact born, just to keep score there. But a long time ago, nonetheless. That is a U20 world record, the 1075. So is the
Hold on,
22:17.
let's pause there. I think
Okay.
the 100 needs more justice.
Okay.
She skipped the 10.8s entirely.
Yeah.
She skipped most of the 10.9s.
No?
Yes.
She just ejected herself into the stratosphere of track and field grades.
Yeah.
Instantaneously. Number 9 all time.
Yeah.
All time. Only 8 other women in history have run faster, and she's a freshman.
Yeah.
Continue with the 200 now. I think we need to say that.
Oh, yeah. And go back to the 100. I mean, you pointed at something out that I kind of thought. I'll embarrass you a little bit by saying you called it Bolt-esque, which is a tough
No,
comparison to make. But she celebrated across the line.
She did this.
Who knows how fast that could have been? It could have been a little bit quicker there. I mean, it was just dominant. It was like the blowouts you used to see out of Bolt in the 100. It was phenomenal, and that's going to be my lasting image from the meet. But the 200, yeah, she almost got it done. But again, another mark way up on the collegiate all-time list, and is
Who's
a
U10
U20 record.
Whose U20 record did she break?
And 2, well, Allison Felix.
Yes.
Yeah, good call.
I mean, this is, you don't want to blow it out of the water with one performance and get
Yeah.
hyperbolic, but you're in 1075. What's the world lead in the 100 right now?
It was 1089, I think, coming in, or something like that.
Yeah, I think it was 1089.
Yeah.
I mean, this isn't about her just a collegiate star being born right now. This is a world star who was born today. I mean, that was a sensational performance that puts her in the equation for gold medal favorite this summer, not next summer.
No.
This summer, and it's a long
Absolutely.
way away. You don't want to get ahead of yourself. She said she doesn't even know what she's going to do, if she's going to run USAs or whatnot. But 10-7, I mean, the people ahead of her on that list are names like Flojo, are names like Carmelita Jeter. It's insane what she did in one evening. I'm just, again, like you said, mouth dropped, speechless. That was me. 200, kind of sad news though. 2 people ran faster than 22:23, which bumped a certain former
Number 10.
Texas A&M sprinter
Number
down
10.
the all-time list.
It's okay though. That was a
still
great
in the top 10.
great race to watch. Yeah, still
Yeah.
top 10.
I mean, that 200 has to be historically great too, with Richardson getting beat, but still running a world junior record, and Ellis. I mean, just sensational.
Yeah, just crazy.
Absolutely crazy. My prediction for Richardson is she gets that bag, because the money, the zeros are going to be long.
And that's when Lincoln stopped being cool.
Because that's what.
How fast is she, Lincoln?
She's fast.
There you go.
The anecdote coming out of the mix zone, though, Chanel Brissett just had finished second in the 100 hurdles.
You're gonna burn Joe's story?
Yes, I'm gonna burn it. I was right there.
Oh wow. Don't burn Joe's
She
story.
had a Pac-12 network
Joe,
microphone
have
in
you
her hand for
published
some reason, and she watched the race. She wanted to wait for her interview until after the race, she turned around with the microphone in hand just appropriately and said, "Oh, she's going pro." So we have no idea what happened. Coach Dennis Shaver said he had no idea yet. This will obviously change things, but don't mean to speculate, but it's going to be awfully tough to deny.
10:75.
Yeah.
That was a stacked 100 final field.
It was very
Kayla White
stacked.
PRs, gets blown out of the water, gets second. She was happy with the race. She's like, Sha'Carri was doing Sha'Carri things. Can't stop it.
Yeah.
Third place, TT Terry gets a PR as well.
Yeah,
I mean, when I say it reminded me of Bolt, it's like everybody ran their best race against Bolt, and they couldn't do anything about it.
I didn't mean to call you embarrassing. It was Bolt-esque. And Kayla White in the press conference on Tuesday literally said, it's going to take a world lead 10-7, 10-8. And I think a lot of us were like, okay, yeah, sure, whatever.
Yeah, no, she's right.
Well, when I asked her that, she said, I told y'all. And I'm like, no, Lincoln is the one who gets dunked on in the mix zone. Not me. He's the one wearing blue shorts and khakis today.
How do you now view Sha'Carri's freshman season relative to what we saw from Sydney last year?
Oh, it's above it. Yeah, it's better.
Yeah,
it's better. It's better.
I mean, I think
crazy.
It's they both broke collegiate records. Well, I don't know. Sydney's 4/10 from the world record. I guess because Sha'Carri did it in 2 events, although she didn't. So I don't know.
And no, nothing against Sydney, but she didn't run fast. She ran fast.
Well, she was in
field.
the rain. That's what I'm saying.
I know, but this was
different.
just so special, though. This today was just one of those moments where, watching that, not knowing what the clock was, you knew something insane had just gone down.
Here's the difference. Sydney gave hints at it. Sha'Carri Richardson just dropped a major bomb all of a sudden. I mean, Texas Relays, she ran that fast time. Wind aided, right? And it was just
1091 with a +4.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, but still, it was a 1091. But that wasn't like what Sydney was doing, where she was chipping away. I guess if there was a World Championships last year, we all would have said Sydney was the favorite for 400 hurdles, right? 52.75.
Yeah.
And with Sha'Carri this year, we would say favorite at this point.
No.
100.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I would say so. I mean, Elaine Thompson looked better, but who would think?
That's a good question,
those?
though. That's a good question.
Oh, it's crazy. Well, I'm gonna.
Question.
That's a fantastic. That's one of Travis's best questions.
There we go.
Of the entire
After I feel like my ex-athlete gets the harm of having, it's like following Chris Rock at a Def Jam competition or something. It's awkward. But
speaking of awkward,
Sinclair, you like that transition? Sinclair Johnson, second fastest in collegiate history in the 1500, beats Jessica Hull. It was like 100 degrees out here, and she ran 4:05. Got a standard. It kind of said it might change her plans a little bit, see if she's going to go to USA's. I think obviously she should do that now, and she is a quickly ascending talent. Kind of knew that she could run fast. She had run the collegiate lead coming in, but beating Jessica Hull is a different thing entirely. And wow, she's going to be one to watch going forward, I think, just based on how fast she's run already and how green she is still at the national level.
it was a surprise. I thought Hull was going to get it. Credit to them, they went for it. It wasn't like men's 1500 meter races and championships where they wait and they wait and they wait and they wait and they wait. They wanted a quick time. Jessica Cole said she didn't have any regrets. That's how she wanted to run. She was just happy that she's third all time.
Well, yeah.
I mean, I did not. If you told me that the women's 1500 was going to produce the second, third fastest times in history. I mean, think about all the fast 1500s that have been run at Stanford or
championship record.
At Brian Clay. Thank you for the championship record. It was 97, 98, 98 degrees. It was the worst possible conditions.
Yeah, one would think.
This was Stanford, like a bizarro Stanford. It was incredible. But I actually need Lincoln to tell me how fast Sinclair Johnson is.
Oh, she's also fast. I think everyone here got the he or she is fast. Anybody who breaks any records, you get that fast drop.
I'm still thinking about that Sydney versus Sha'Carri question.
That's a good question. Travis just blew your mind.
Yeah.
I mean, top 10 all time.
I'm about to bump you out of the mix zone, Lincoln.
Oh no, I had too many golden moments. There were way too many. No Texas Tech moment again for me today, but there were some doozies.
What's your big question for next year, NCAA wise?
Oh.
Other than does blank come back?
Yeah. I mean, it's always like, how do we top this, right? I mean, if it's not who doesn't come back, it's like, last year we said, well, we're not getting somebody on the level of Michael Norman. We're not getting somebody onto Sydney's level. Well, we just got somebody onto Sydney's level in the women's 100. It didn't happen in the 400 this year, but is that going to continue to happen? It's just the new era of just, there's going to be distances that are all time, not just collegiate every year, but world times all time. So that's kind of a vague answer there, but just put me on the spot. I would say, will it continue to rise? Will there be another person that gets on to that super, super elite level in the sprints?
Yeah, there seems to be, with North Carolina A&T coming up.
Yeah.
Like there seems to be more, just like a diversity of sprint programs up there, which is good. I think it's interesting. I'm interested also in Danny Jones coming back in indoor and outdoor. She said she has left. I think she could take a sledgehammer to the all-time list in whichever event she chooses. So right now, that's kind of at the top of my mind. We got Olivia. Whoa, there's bugs.
Oh, it's still on you.
Where? Okay.
There we go. Now it's on Lincoln.
Ugh.
I want to see who's going to make it on the all-time list. And
Which
not the 200 though. Like everything else but the 200. I think would be great. Just because we've seen so much talent come out of this meet that I wasn't really expecting. I was like, oh yeah, Shakara Richardson, she's going to run 10.9. All of a sudden she drops to 10.7. I'm like, well, so much for that prediction. But I really am curious to see who's going to step up next year, because there's just a lot of question marks going around on which athletes are staying.
Hey, guess who's coming to the NCAA next year? Matt Bolting.
Well,
oh yes.
Well, so it's for the women's 100. They'll think about this. If Shakari goes, she's out of the mix.
Yeah.
Tiana Daniels, Kayla White gone.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's like Twinnie Chacheri would be the next one right there, and then if Anjanella stays in the 200, obviously she'd be a favorite. So there is still a void there to be filled. But yeah, I mean Oduduru, what's he gonna do?
That's a question mark.
Yeah, it's tough. You know, I would say if he was American, it would be probably a no-brainer. I don't, not that being Nigerian changes that, but just that he's stateside, and you have to make decisions about where he wants to train and stuff like that. So I could see him definitely coming back despite running so fast. But yeah, Richardson's gone, I think, and so. But somebody will step up, man. Somebody always does. You weren't a believer in that.
Oh, I'm still not. I mean, last year's meet. I don't mean to throw cold water, but last year's meet was still better, top to bottom. It was still better meet. But
yeah, I mean, some pretty fast times.
But no, it was still good. It was still good. I'm not saying it wasn't, but just the overall top to bottom, I thought last year was a little bit. I mean, you have Norman, Benjamin, McLaughlin. You still had Holloway last year, right? You had Holloway still.
Weren't the 400 hurdles deeper this year?
Might have been deeper, but you didn't have anybody go 47.02 in the rain. I mean, that was just nuts. 43.61 for Norman. You had the collegiate record in the 4x4. I mean, and then like people like Aaliyah Hobbs. I mean, now obviously she's not going to get as much credit just because Shakari Richardson drops to 10.75. But if it was better weather at Hayward that last day, she could have taken a shot at the collegiate record in the 100. Get Gabby Thomas in the 200. You just had a really good group last year. This year's group could be, if they all stayed, right? There's a lot of strong freshmen, sophomores, and juniors.
Man, how about that LSU all-time 4x1? Sold. Shakari Richardson, Aaliyah Hobbs,
Makai Briscoe.
That's
a tough team to make.
Be a quick one.
So, do you gentlemen prefer it in Austin, Texas for the NCAAs, or back in Eugene, Oregon?
That's a good question. We're home here, but as Kevin knows, then we have to ride in my non-air-conditioned car to and from the meet. So, I think it's a wash for me.
My parents live in Eugene. So there's that side of it. Yeah, weather-wise, Eugene gets it. Hotel my parents' house versus staying here. I mean, I don't know. I just sweat a lot this week.
Oh man,
so
much
an uncomfortable amount. Way more bugs. I mean,
way more
you've
bugs.
competed in both.
I just want to.
I think the vibe in Eugene is better just because the Ducks are just so hardcore track fans.
Yeah.
And so it brought a lot of energy. Not saying there was not a lot of energy here, but you can tell that there was a difference between Hayward Field and here. But kind of like being home in Austin. A little bit. The heat was just brutal, but I feel like I could get past it. We were in the tent the whole time.
I also think we kind of lucked out on the heat too. Like it could have been worse.
It could have been worse.
Tomorrow's going to be even hotter.
Yeah, it could have been really bad.
Triple digits. Not that it matters once you get to 98, but all right. I got to go write a story.
Yeah, let's do it. All right, see you guys on the other side. I guess we'll be back on Monday.
Monday.
Yeah, Monday. I didn't even miss the other side.
All right, that was the NCAA Championships.